Hey guys, this is Mrs. Barrow. We're going to be doing 4.02 Democratic Government in Athens. So if you go on to Canvas under the modules, here it is. Now, they have a travel journal, but I'm going to recommend that you complete the travel journal at the end, and instead you skip to page 6 and download the Democratic Concepts chart, because that's the assignments for this section. And if you fill it out while you're reading through the section, then it'll be way better for you, and it'll be easier for you to answer the travel journal questions, and your assignment will be done. So here it is here where I've already pre-downloaded it. And let's go ahead and get started. So 4.02, Democratic Government in Athens Objectives. Where did democracy start? What makes a country a country? What brings people together as a country? And once they are together, how do they work together? How do they decide who is in charge? How do they decide what actions will and will not take? In short, what type of government do they form? These were questions to the people of Athens faced, and over 2,000 years later, they were the same questions that Americans face as they look to create their own country, one separate from English rule. In this lesson, you will trace the roots of modern democracy back to Athens, and you'll complete a chart to show what you have learned. So travel journal, again, is the questions. You download it, you do it at the end. I would be completing this assignment while I go through this. So what types of governments were practiced in the Greek city-states? Ancient Greece was made up of a lot of different polis, or city-states. There were great distances between these city-states. These distances caused each city-state to be very independent. Instead of being a tightly knit family, ancient Greece felt more like a set of distant relatives. While they shared common language, religion, and culture, each city-state had its own laws and government. View the interactive to learn more about the 4 basic types of government in ancient Greece. Okay, so you see monarchy, tyrant, oligarchy, democracy. Monarchy, tyrant, oligarchy, democracy. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on these. And then you're going to read this, and you're going to use these to fill it out. And then you do the same for the other 2. Who were the men who crafted Athenian democracy? The road to democracy in ancient Athens was long and full of challenges. 4 key figures, however, played an especially important role. These figures were Draco, Solon, Cleisthenes, and Pericles. Beginning in the 6th century BCE, they were increasing conflicts between the common people and the aristocratic rulers. These conflicts set in motion a series of changes that would transform Athens into the first democracy. Athens' influence in the world today can be seen by the fact that most of the countries in the world have democratic governments. View the chart below to learn more about how each contributed to the development of democratic principles in ancient Athens. So if you see here.
My name is Draco. I am an Athenian lawmaker who introduced the first written code of law in ancient Greece. I created and wrote the first clear set of laws in an effort to stop the fighting between aristocratic families. I spelled out the consequences for breaking the laws. There was a very severe punishment for murder. I also understood that some deaths might be accidental and did not deserve as harsh a penalty. The penalty for breaking many of the laws, even the minor ones, is death. If you owe money and cannot pay, it is legal for your creditors to make you their slave. People still use my name to describe very severe or cruel acts, draconian. However, it's important to note that by writing down the laws, I have removed some of the power from the aristocratic families. Up until this time, it was only the aristocratic families who knew what the laws were. Therefore, they were also the only ones who could enforce the law. By writing down the laws for all to see, for the first time the average person has access to the rules under which they were governed.
Okay, so if you see here, for each one of these figures, there's a section. What contributions did I make on the road to democracy? So you're going to name 2 things for each person for full credit that talks about what they contributed. And then how did my contribution change government? Like, how did it change laws? How did it change any way that the government is working? Okay. And then this final chart. Democratic government in Athens. How did the government of ancient Athens influence the United States government? The ancient Athenians played a role in how the United States government was established. Its laws and government served as models for countries in the modern world. The founding fathers of the United States included many elements of the Athenian government and the Athenian democracy. For example, the idea of two legislative bodies reflects influence from ancient Greece. Take a few minutes to explore how the Athenian government influenced the Athenian democracy. So if you scroll down, there's an interactive. You see the archon is like the president, and that one's already kind of done for you. See, it says the president, American democracy, the president. And then the Athenian concept means, what did Athens do with this position? And then the American democracy concept is, how does it relate to American democracy? So you can see here that, 30-year minimum age for the archon, 35-year for the president, okay? So Council of 500, if you look, there's a pattern emerging here. The Senate, oh look, the Senate under American democracy. And then Council of 500 ensured the same number of representatives for 10 tribes. So under Athenian concept, their council ensured the same number of representatives from each tribe, just like the United States Senate has 2 senators per state. So you go through this chart like that, and you flip through all of these. So this is kind of a review. It's kind of a fun game. You match what the figures did, and it'll tell you if you're right or wrong. And then that's really it for this chapter. Besides that, you're going to go back and you're going to do the questions in your travel journal at the end. Because once this chart is complete, it's super easy to fill out these questions. I mean, look, what types of government were practiced in Greek city-states? Oh, look, there's 4. Who were some of the men that contributed to the democracy in Athens? Oh, no way, it's right there. So you just kind of, once the charts are done, this is just way easier to do. Also, don't forget, if you want full credit, at the bottom of this, there is actually a question, a focus question. If you want to get 100%, I would suggest having more than 1 sentence, write a paragraph. But that's it for this assignment. And if you guys need any help, I'm going to be on Zoom for questions tomorrow, and I'll talk to you soon. So I hope that you guys have a good day.